Conversations. Today I want to talk to you about the importance of customer service and what it means to offer customer service. I had an opportunity to do that today in my store at Viden Luxury Consignment, and I actually have lots of opportunities to provide service in that environment because I'm dealing with people directly, either one-on-one in person or they call the store, so I'm talking with them on the phone, which is very different than an email where I'm dealing with someone online. But today I had an opportunity to provide some service, and I thought that I would talk about it because doing these podcasts every single day, I'm running out of topics. But I promised to do one for 30 days every day. And believe me, after this, you are not going to hear from me this often because this is it's too much of a stretch. And I am stretching trying to find topics. So I will take care of that by asking you to present topics to me that you'd like for me to talk about. And I look forward to hearing those topics. If you can get in touch with me on Instagram at JennieGirl's Closet and just send me a little message so I'll know what topics that you want me to talk about. In the meantime, I want to talk about customer service because just today someone came into my store, and this happens all the time. Even though we offer appointments and offer even same-day appointments, people still just walk in the door with their things and they hope to get your attention. And so I deal with that a lot. And today I had someone who came into the store and I was with another customer. But when I was done, it was a woman and her daughter, her young daughter, very tall, beautiful daughter. And they had the dreaded, what do you call it? Pageant gown. That's it. The dreaded pageant gown. And they were looking to, send it on its way to its new home. And I'm like, oh no. I mean, I've had a lot of prom gowns come in, but never a pageant. It's my first pageant gown. I mean, I've had people try to consign bridal gowns and like bridesmaids gowns that were never worn and all that kind of thing, and we turn all that away. But this is my first pageant gown, and it was blue and it was blingy and it was like you could just, like, where's the crown, So I asked her if she won when she wore the gown, and she says, I didn't win, but I got some sort of honorable mention kind of thing. So that was good. So anyway, so we don't take we don't take a pageant gown. So instead of just saying, no, we don't take a pageant gown and send them on their way, I said, this isn't what we do. And I don't know anyone in Pasadena that handles pageant gown. This is a really hard, it's a hard item to give a second home to. I said, however, I know of a consignment shop in Atlanta, Georgia, that I think would be perfect for you to contact. Now, I know they're out of state, but this is the kind of thing where you could mail it into them very inexpensively, like UPS Ground. And they specialize and are famous for prom dresses. About NARTS, N-A-R-T-S, which is the trade association for consignment. You should all check out. But they have two stores next to each other. One is traditional consignment, and then you walk through like a hallway or something, or some bridge something. The next shop over is all prom dresses. Now, it is a sight to behold. Entire store of prom dresses and, pageant dresses and all of this. And, this is the thing. Nobody really wants to deal with prom dresses because it's a hard sell, and there isn't prom all year long. It's obviously a special occasion and happens certain time of year. But they decided to go all out, so much so that they were profiled in the Atlanta Journal and Constitution just for their prom dresses and the fact that they were the go-to source and how well they had done with that. So I thought that was really awesome that not only did they decide to tackle prom dresses, they did it so well they were being recognized for it in the local paper, which I thought was amazing. But I suggested to them, why don't you call back by popular demand? Just give them a call, tell them what you have. See, maybe text them a picture, see if it's something they think they can sell. And if it makes sense, if they think they can get a couple $100 for it and it's going to cost you $15 to mail it, why not give it a shot, And so I did. I gave them their phone number, and we looked up their website, and I gave them the information, and I said, you see here how they have a whole section on their website just for prom. And they were really, really excited and pleased that I did that I took the time to not just say, no, I can't help you, but to offer a solution. And I think they really appreciate it. So that was an opportunity to give some customer service. And what I do also is when people they talk to me about what they have, and I'm able to determine over the phone that it's not anything that we want to consign. I always offer them additional information, and I will make suggestions to them, because sometimes they ask for suggestions, but if they don't ask, I usually, like 99.9% of the time, will say, well, there's no one in Pasadena for this. Perhaps in LA, you can call this person, or think about this, think about that. Yeah, I'm always referring them to some other way. Like when we get these wedding gown calls, what I do is I refer them to the online sites where you can mail in your wedding dress, because there's I don't know, 3 or 4 that are really popular. So I always take the time to look that up online and give them the names of those. If someone's calling about furniture, I'm always referring them to this local organization called the Huntington Collection, where you can consign furniture in Pasadena. And there are very few places in Pasadena to consign furniture. As a matter of fact, there was one called P.E. Dean's that recently closed their doors, and they were one of the few that I even knew about, and they closed their doors. So it's really hard for people to know what to do with their things, and it's a real problem. But what I did is gave them suggestions. When people have traditional vintage clothing, I'm always referring them to the Pasadena Pasadena Antique Mall. I'm referring them to the vintage shops in town. Sometimes we'll Google together while we're in the store, and I'm like, hey, let's sit down and try to solve this problem together. So I had a call recently, and I'm going to, I was talking through someone about options for some estate things that they have of their mothers, about kind of what can go where. And so I think people really appreciate when you don't just say yes or no, but you offer alternatives for them. Especially in the case where you can't help them, that's really, really important. And I think people appreciate it. And so when you have an opportunity to go beyond just a yes or no with someone, I think it's really important and rewarding to do so. And always people are very appreciative. One man had called about some gold jewelry that he had in his family, and I asked him all these questions about it. Was it branded like a Bulgari or a Cartier? I mean, was it fine dainty pieces? Were they bold pieces? I mean, just tell me about them. And well, after we talked, I said, I don't really think we're right for you. I said, but there's this local place in town called Arnold's Jewelry. They're a family-owned business. They've been around for decades. They consign. They take things in for a year. Blah 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 blah. I told them all about Arnold's, and I told them about the Real, and how you can meet with someone in person. You take everything down there to their person who does evaluates jewelry. You make an appointment, and they will tell you while you're there, before you leave, a price range, an estimate for each piece, what they can take in, what they can't take in, what they can take in if it gets repaired, and things like that. So I had told that to someone. I just went above and beyond. For me, it doesn't feel like above and beyond. To me, it just feels like imparting what I know. And this man left this glowing Yelp review. And he says, I don't know who I spoke to, if it was an employee or the owner, but they were so helpful, and they went above and beyond and told me about all these other places to go with no problem, sending me to the competition. And he just left a glowing response. And yeah, be sure to look that up on Walker. Look up Walker Viden on Yelp. You'll see our recent glowing review. And I really appreciated that. And I wasn't even thinking about getting a review or anything positive. I just thought, how can I be helpful? Kind of in the way I approach this podcast is, what do I know that I can share with people? And just something as simple as, beyond a yes or no or a maybe, is to give people options and not be afraid to move them on or refer them to other consignment shops or other people that might be helpful. Because even if those are dead ends for them, at least you tried to give them some information. You tried to help them solve their problem, because in all business, we solve problems. Every business solves a problem. And certainly reselling and consignment solves a big problem for people. And it's more and more evident as our phones are ringing off the hook here in January with people who are not only purging, but a lot of people that are dealing with elderly parents that are in transition into nursing homes, or they're downsizing and things like that. And what are they going to do with all this stuff? Now, that's not a seasonal issue, but certainly lately, maybe because more and more people know about us, that we're getting a lot of calls about that. And it's a problem to solve, and we help solve a problem if in that batch of clothing you can cherry pick out the things that are worth salvaging and saving and moving on in a consignment environment. And that's really helpful to people, because some of the comments are that it's really expensive as people are aging to deal with those costs, and it absolutely is. And so this is one way to get some money toward expenses like that. Although you don't get a check right away, obviously it takes some time to sell things, but we're helping people. So, a consignment shop is very different from reselling in the sense that it's not your inventory. But I've done a different podcast on all the reasons people consign. It's very I'm very open about that, what people have told me. But the bottom line is we're solving a problem. So in the sense of being resellers, we're solving a problem in putting those items back out into the marketplace. But in doing that and offering some customer service when you're dealing with people online that are buying your things, taking the time to answer their questions, taking the time to provide measurements, taking the time to, whatever it is that they've asked you, even if it's something kind of off the rails. Get a lot. Will you model this? That's my favorite. Will you model? And someone who recently asked me to model something, which I am 5 sizes bigger than I was 5 years ago from my lack of exercising in Pasadena after my walking 4 miles a day in New York. And it's sad but true. But about nothing fits me right now, which is part of the reason I hide behind a podcast and you don't see me much on YouTube, because this is easier for me and more comfortable, and I can keep my weight gain to myself. Of course, now that all y'all know about it, Anyway, it's one of those things. So anyway, that's kind of a little thing I wanted to talk about. So anyway, somebody had asked me about models. So I can't model. I said, but if you go to an Instagram page on Walker Viden, then if you scroll down, you can see the outfit on a mannequin. And I have no problem putting outfits on mannequins. I do that all the time because we have full-size mannequins in Walker Viden. I don't have one at home, a full-size mannequin. I just have like the half mannequin with no arms. But at Walker Viden, we have full-size mannequins. And if somebody needs it, I absolutely put it on a mannequin. I had someone say, well, can you show me the bracelets on a wrist? So I put it on the mannequin wrist because I didn't have a good manicure on. My nails were chipped. So I put it on the mannequin on her wrist and sent a picture. So we get requests all the time. And because we don't have the things. Yes, I'm from Texas. Because we don't have the things on models or stock photos or anything like that, people do want to see how it looks, and it absolutely gives you a better sense of how something fits if you can see arms and legs in places where they're supposed to be. But that's all something that's really helpful, and sometimes you get really outrageous questions. Sometimes they just keep asking question after question. You don't understand why, but oftentimes that'll end up in a sale because you don't know why they're asking. You don't understand what's going on, and sometimes you go down a rabbit hole and you end up with a sale, and sometimes you go down a rabbit hole and you end up with, nothing but questions in your mind. But it is an opportunity to provide service, and I think that as online sellers, if you're only online, is it to look at each engagement and conversation as an opportunity to provide some service, provide some assistance. And I know when I've asked for additional questions on something about condition, or, are there any rips, any spots, any holes? What can you tell me about this, and this? It means I'm serious, and it means I need to know more. And when people get back to me with those questions, I really appreciate it. I had a woman call into the consignment shop the other day, and she said she had cowboy boots, size 8.5, handmade in Mexico by a brand I hadn't really heard of, and wanted to know if we were an outlet for her to sell them. And I gave her my opinion, which was no, we weren't the right outlet for her, but that she should really just sell them herself on Poshmark. And by the time we were done, she had my Poshmark code, and she said she would download the app, and I just explained to her this was the easiest way to get rid of them. It was really easy, and how I had, and I've actually did this, how I've actually helped people set up on Poshmark and taken pictures of something they brought to me in a light box or on a mannequin to show them how to do it in the store. Yeah, and that's service, but mostly I'm trying to just be helpful and, share what I know, and why not. And, people seem to appreciate it. And I think that if we keep that in mind, that, share what we know, be helpful to people. You don't have to be from the South and have a mother like mine who taught me all about, a service mindset to do this. I mean, it's just something that's good to do. Like this podcast, sharing what I know, and hopefully you can benefit from it. If you like what you heard today, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, 5 stars, comments. That's really helpful in getting this out into the podcast universe. I look forward to having you with me on a future podcast. If you like the song you heard in the intro, it's called Black Hat, performed by Jennie Walker and written by Jennie Walker and Tommy Farragher. It's available on iTunes worldwide now.